Honorable Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, today the government firmly supports the Free Nutritious Program, or MBG. Despite the recent rise in food poisoning cases, we believe MBG brings far more good than harm and is essential for Indonesia's future. Indonesia still faces a serious nutritional crisis. Our stunting rate remains at 21%, far above the WHO standard. This is not just a health issue, it affects children's brain development, learning capacity, and long-term productivity. Without intervention, we risk losing an entire generation to poor nutrition. MBG directly addresses this. It provides children with guaranteed, nutritious meals every day, something many families simply cannot ensure at home. As a result, students learn better, stay healthier, and are less likely to drop out of school because of poverty or hunger. Opponents may use food poisoning causes to argue that MBG is unsafe. We argue that these incidents prove why a national program is necessary. Before MBG, children relied on unregulated street food with zero hygiene standards. MBG introduces structure, quality checks, and accountability. The solution is stronger regulation, not removing the only supervised meal children receive. Beyond health, MBG also strengthens local economies by sourcing ingredients from UMKM, farmers, and home industries. The program keeps money circulating within communities. It creates jobs, stabilizes local food supply chains, and supports thousands of small producers. For this reason, Honorable Speaker, we strongly believe MBG brings more good than harm. Thank you.
First, the government says that MBG will reduce stunting, but the recent food poisoning cases shows that the system is not ready yet. These are not small mistakes. They reveal major problems in management, hygiene, and food supervision. A nutrition program should never put children's health in danger. Second, the government claims that MBG is safer than street food. But in reality, the poisoning came from MBG meals. This proves that quality control on the ground is still weak. Before expanding the program, we must ensure strong safety standards. Third, the government argued that MBG helps the local economy. However, many small businesses struggle with the late payments until procurement rules and production demands they cannot meet. This can actually make the local economy unstable, not stronger. MBG may not also make families to depend on the government for children's meals, which is not healthy in the long term and puts pressure on the national budget. Honorable speakers, good intentions are not enough. If a program is not safe, not stable, and not ready yet, it should not be forced. For this reason, the opposition reject MBG in its current form.
Interruption? Thank you. First, the poisoning incident is not proof that the program has failed, but proof that our monitoring system is working. The case was quickly detected, acted upon, and corrected. Large programs always have initial challenge, and the solution is refinement, not termination. The second, it is precisely because the poisoning occurred in state monitored food that we know where the problem lies and can take action against violators. With street food, there are no standards or accountability. The MBG enables audit controls and improvements that were previously impossible. Third, regarding MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, the government acknowledged that there are administrative obstacles, but these are being addressed through a faster procurement and payment system. Without the MBG, MES will lose the stable market that has helped production and created local jobs. And then fourth, regarding concern about dependency, the government wants to emphasize that the MBG is not a program that replaces the role of the family, but rather protects the most vulnerable children. The state is present because not all households are able to provide nutrition food. What we are fighting is stunting, not family independence. MBG is a long-term investment in the quality of human not consumptive assistance. Your Excellency, Chairman of the Council, good intentions alone are not enough. But ignoring the nutrition crisis is a far riskier choice. The government has chosen to improve the program, not to stop it. Thank you.
Sorry, while we respect the government effort to implement MBGA, we must emphasize that good intention cannot replace effectiveness. First, regarding the positioning incident, the government claims it shows that monitoring is working. We strongly disagree. Monitoring that reacts after children are harmed is not proof of success. It is proof that failures of occurring at the first place. The government may agree that the system corrected the issue quickly, but we ask, why were children exposed at all? A reactive system is not enough. Prevention must be the priority, and MBG is, as implemented, has not proven it can guarantee that. Second, about state-monitored food. While audit exists, contamination still happen. This shows that oversight alone cannot ensure safety. The government may respond that the system is improving, but promises of future improvement do not protect children today. Meanwhile, vulnerable children remain at risk. Third, concerning UMKM, yes, MBG creates opportunities, but bureaucratic hurdles and slow payment prevent many small producers from benefiting. The government might argue that procurement systems are improving, but until these reforms are fully operational, many UMKM remain excluded, and the program risks centralizing the market in favor of a few large suppliers. Fourth, regarding dependency, the government emphasized that MBG is not meant to replace family roles. However, long-term reliance on state programs may reduce household responsibility and initiative. Government may argue that MBG is temporary support, but the concern remains children and family may become reliant rather than empowered. In conclusion, while the government frames MBG as a solution, the risks to child safety, bureaucratic inefficiency, and dependency are real and ongoing. We are not denying the program potential, but current implementation is flawed and should be questioned. The government may defend improvement, but until proven effective, MBG cannot be considered fully safe or reliable.
Thank you, Karina and Irsan, for presenting your arguments. However, allow me to clarify that several points rise to fully reflect the fact, not the context of the program's implementation. First, regarding the food poisoning incident, Karina argues that proved the failures of monitoring. In fact, the rapid detection, immediate response, and quick identification of the source show that monitoring system is functioning. Without MBG, children rely on street food with no standard and no accountability. As Lydia and Fabi explained, MBG is what makes tracking, auditing, and corrective action possible. Second, regarding prevention, Irsan and Karina demand zero risk. But in any large-scale national program, absolute risk elimination is possible. What matters is swift response and continued improvement, both of which the government is already doing. No major public program in the world is incident-free, but effective programs are those that can correct issues quickly. Third, UMK and Karina highlight bureaucratic delays as if they invalidate the program. Yet, as Fabi mentioned, payment acceleration and procurement simplification are already underway, and thousands of UMKM now benefit from a stable market through MBG. It is unfair, it just the program solely based on the transactional obstacles. 4. On dependency, MBG does not replace the family role. It fills the nutritional gap for families who genuinely cannot afford proper meals. The dependence we aim to end is not on the state, but on malnutrition and stunting. One isolated incident should not be used to dismiss a national program that protects children, improve learning, outcomes, and strengthens the local economy. Challenges exist, and the government is addressing them, not avoiding them. MBG does not cause more harm than good. Without MBG, children lose protection and access to essential nutrition.
Thank you for your explanation. First, about the food poisoning case. You said the fast response proved the system is working, but the problem is not only how fast the reaction was, it is why the incident happened in the first place. A good monitoring system should prevent this, not only fix it after children already get sick. Rapid response is good, but prevention should be stronger. So there's no point about you bragging about, our system is fast that it can detect the poisoning in the children. So I think you should be bragging about how fast that the system can prevent the poisoning happen. Second, regarding the risk, it is true that zero risk is impossible, but the goal of a national program should be minimize risk as much as possible, especially when it involves children's health. Saying that incidents are normal can make the government less careful. It seems ignorant. The public expect higher safety standards, not only quick reaction. And third, on UMKM, yes, improvements are happening, but many small businesses still face late payment and complicated procedures, and this issue affect their income and stability. And we cannot ignore these challenges by saying they are just part of the transition. For the people experiencing them, these delays are real and harmful. And fourth, about dependency, even though MBG helps families, we also need to consider that some parents may start relying too much on the program and reduce their role in providing meals. So support programs should empower families, not make them feel replaced. In other words, the mother have a less role in the children's life. So while MBG has benefits, it also has a real problem that need attention. We should not only focus on the positives and ignore the weaknesses. A strong program is one that listens to criticism and fixes the root causes and ensure the safety and well-being of all children involved.
To conclude, Honorable Speaker, the increase in food poisoning case attributed to MBG program clearly shows that its implementation lacks the necessary safety, protocols, and readiness. A policy intended to address stunting cannot be justified if it jeopardizes children's health. The fact that contamination occurred within the program's controlled supply chain reveals critical failures in governance and quality assurance. Moreover, instead of empowering local economies, the program has caused financial uncertainty for small suppliers and imposed additional strain on public funds. Therefore, the government maintains that the MBG program in its current form requires substantial revision before it can responsibly continue. Thank you.
Okay. We are from the opposition team will convey our conclusion of our argument. Although the Free Nutritious Meal Program (MBG) is built on good intention, its current implementation shows that it is not yet ready to operate safely or effectively. The food poisoning incidents reveal serious gaps in prevention, oversight, and hygiene standards, proving that the system cannot fully protect children. Quality control remains weak, and audits alone are not enough to prevent contamination. So, economically, many small businesses still face delayed payments and complicated procedures, which undermine their stability rather than support growth. Additionally, the program carries the risk of creating long-term dependency among families. For this reason, MBG in its present form is unsafe, unstable, and inefficient. It must be critically reviewed and fundamentally improved before it can be considered a reliable national program. Thank you.